4th of July, everybody. Welcome into this edition of Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Hope you're having a fantastic holiday, celebrating our freedoms here in the greatest country on planet Earth. It is time for another mailbag show. You guys got questions. I got answers. We will discuss all sorts of things on today's show, from DK Metcalf to Justin Simmons and more, coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, we are closing in ever so closer to 17,000 subscribers here on the channel, just over 130 away. Subscribe now for free for daily news and rumors, for Q&A mailbags, breaking news, the most interactive Ravens channel you're going to find on YouTube. Lock us in for free. Join the family. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. And we'll get started with today's show. First question comes from Honest Abe. Honest Abe wants to know, could the Ravens trade for DK Metcalf? All right. Let's dive right into this when it comes to DK Metcalf. So I know a thing or two about the Seattle Seahawks. I'll leave it at that. For those that know, they know. DK Metcalf is in a situation where he is looking to get paid, much like all these receivers in the National Football League these days. They're getting record amounts of money. We're still waiting to see what kind of deal Brandon Ayuk's going to get. A.J. Brown just got a nice extension. You look at the money Justin Jefferson got. The price tag on wideouts is skyrocketing right now. It is not cheap to pay a wide receiver at this point in time. And you look at DK Metcalf and his situation in Seattle, they don't have a ton of cap space. Not this year, not next year, not going forward. And although it would appear from the outside that seems like a player that the Seahawks could potentially move on from to save some salary, a young team and all, try to get some draft capital, if you will. I think that the Seahawks are going to move heaven and earth to make sure they can keep DK Metcalf. Because if you look at that Seahawks team, that's now moved on from Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs and all these players that have been kind of the faces of their franchise, if you will. DK's now the guy. He is the best player on that Seahawks roster. He is the face of the franchise. I don't see them moving on from him. And because of the way the wide receiver market has just skyrocketed in price, the draft compensation for trading for a guy like DK Metcalf is not going to be the return on investment that teams like the Seattle Seahawks would be hoping for. They would like to get a first-round pick and more if they're going to trade DK. Realistically, it's probably about a second and a fifth at this point. I mean, the Bills didn't get a whole lot for Stephon Diggs in that trade that happened a couple months ago. So I don't think DK is getting traded. If the Ravens had the opportunity to pull off a trade for DK Metcalf and give up only a second and fifth, by all means, it would make a ton of sense and be a great addition to this Ravens offense. But I just don't think he's on the market. I think the Seahawks are going to find a way to pay him and keep him around. Our pinned comment today, let's ask you, should the Ravens trade for DK Metcalf? Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think, if they should make a trade for DK or not. Next question comes from Soft Serve. I do love me some Soft Serve. What are the chances the Ravens sign Justin Simmons? So the Justin Simmons situation is so strange, so weird to me, right? Because you're looking at a guy that Justin Simmons, that the production is there, right? It doesn't add up that a player of his caliber is still available at this point in free agency. Usually at this point in free agency, we're talking about the players that are left over and that nobody wants, or players coming off injuries that there is skepticism about how healthy they are. None of those things are the case with Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons is coming off of a year where he was a second-team All-Pro last year. The year before that, he was the co-leader in interceptions in the league with 6, tied with Rick Woolen in 2022. Justin Simmons is right in the thick of the prime of his career. But, here's the big but. This is why he's still available. This is why you come to Ravens Rundown, because I have the answers for you here. He is asking for more than what his market value is. We've seen the safeties on the market in 2024 did not get the money that they were expecting to get relative to their talent level. So Justin Simmons is more than likely out of the Ravens' price range. Although he would be a great fit And the Ravens are looking for a third safety option because remember the Ravens defense, even though Mike McDonald's gone and Zach Orr's the defensive coordinator now, they still plan to use three safeties a lot with this defensive scheme to have three safeties on the field at the same time. He would be a great fit, but I just don't see the Benjamins working out for the Baltimore Ravens to be able to pull Justin Simmons in. I would be very surprised at this point. Your turn to be Eric DeCosta here on the channel. Should the Ravens sign Justin Simmons? Type S for sign, P for pass. If they can, I would love it, but I'd be very surprised at this juncture. Weigh in and let us know. S for sign, P for pass. Dan writes in, what kind of year do you expect from Mark Andrews? Don, great question. Mark Andrews coming off, I would say, a disappointing season in 2023. But it still was a solid season, right? There are a number of tight ends in the National Football League that would take the year that Mark Andrews had last year, where he had over 500 yards, 6 touchdowns, 12 yards of reception, and 45 total catches. Mark Andrews looking to get paid, still has 2 years left in his current contract. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the Ravens are going to keep Mark Andrews around for a considerable amount of time. To me, it all comes down to health with Mark Andrews. If Mark Andrews is healthy, then he's going to be one of the top 3 tight ends in football, right up there with Travis Kelce and George Kittle, and have a season close to 1,000 yards. And we know about the chemistry that he and Lamar Jackson have, that the two are on the same page. If he can stay healthy, he will have a very good year. But if the injuries that we saw last year, remember there was multiple injuries that he suffered last year, if that continues to add on, and then you also factor in, remember, this is a guy dealing with diabetes as well. And he took a lot of hits when he was at Oklahoma before he ever played it down for the Baltimore Ravens. If that continues to be a problem, then this could be a disappointing year and could be the beginning of the end, if you will, for Mark Andrews. I hope that's not the case, but it all comes down to health for me. If he can stay healthy, Mark Andrews is going to be fantastic and have a big year. And Todd Monken loves using the tight end in this offense. We know Lamar and him are on the same page. It all comes down to health for me. Last question in the mailbag this week. Who is the most patriotic Ravens player of all time? Glad you asked, Tater Tot. When I think about guys that embody America and, the American dream, if you will, I got to go with Ray Lewis, right? I mean, Ray Lewis is a fantastic leader, right? He's so well-spoken. A man of character. I look at Ray Lewis as kind of the guy that, he went through his struggles in his life, right? He made some mistakes, if you will. I'm not going to dive into all that, but you know what I mean. And then what happened? He became the face of this franchise, the greatest middle linebacker to ever play the game, won multiple Super Bowls, and changed how the game is played. To me, that's the American dream, the American story is Ray Lewis, of where he came from to rising out of that to who he is. I think that's the answer here. But there's plenty of guys within the Ravens organization that love America and what it represents and are part of what we are as a country here. But Ray Lewis would be the answer I would go with. Happy 4th to everybody out there. If you love America, spam USA in the comment section. Spam it. I want to see as many USAs. Get the USA, USA, USA chant going there in the comment section to show your support for this country. Before we get out of here today, I want to send a message out there to the Ravens flock and make this point loud and clear. Today is July 4th. Happy Independence Day to everybody out there. What I would encourage you folks, as you're going through celebrating this holiday and going through the rest of this weekend, folks, is to buy American. We have a lot of fake patriotism out there. There's a lot of companies that are acting as if they're American and selling American products, and they're scamming the American people. Buy American. Support your local businesses and show them support for what they're doing to give back to their communities and make this nation and make our community stronger. Whether it's a beer or whether you're going to the store and just picking up your home goods, highly encourage you to do so. Thank a veteran. Thank our troops for making the ultimate sacrifice for giving back to this country. We can't thank them enough for all that they do. Have a great 4th of July. We live in the greatest country on earth. Don't take that for granted. We will see you next time. Subscribe now to Ravens Rundown, and have a great day.